So we're joined here today with Cassandra Button from Sprouts Consultancy. Thanks so much for coming in. Do you want to just introduce yourself a bit and tell us about yourself, your background, how you got into early education, and where you are now?
Yeah, no worries. Cassandra from Sprouts Consultancy. I've had over a decade of experience within early childhood. I've got my early childhood degree plus training assessing, plus there's several other studies and certificates that I've done. So I do have the experience and the qualifications behind me. A little bit about it is just because being in the sector and being running of services and running and leading, I noticed there was a gap within that role where everyone else was getting supported and getting provided the content and professional development. The leaders were sort of left behind. So Sprouts Consultancy was built from that, and it just keeps evolving.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, what made you go from working as an educator to consultancy? Obviously, I guess you noticed a gap in the sector, but was there anything personally that you kind of felt like I need to go into this and away from kind of work then?
Yeah, so I was given an opportunity where someone asked if I could support their centre they needed a director. And they were like, can you help? And I sort of refused at the start, and then I was like, and they're like, please. And I was like, all right, I'll go in short term, I'll help you to improve the centre. I went in and my passion of early childhood came back alive. I had left from an amazing job, didn't hate it, loved it, but this just helped me amplify my knowledge and experience. And I went in and loved it. I went in and just the team wasn't as being a team as they should have been. They were still doing good, but they just sort of did because if you ask them why they did it, they're just like, well, it's just what we do. Or there was little areas that still needed improving, and they were working towards service. So I just sort of started that journey, got my inspiration back, started a plan, started executing it. Then we got our assessment and rating notice as well while I was brand new. So from that, I just even amplified it, got the team working towards. And as I was doing this journey just to get this one centre, it came to me like, what if I did this for all centres? And so that's where it's pretty much all started. Like, how can I help many centres improve their quality? How can I get them to be amazing all the time and keep, amplifying that instead of being stagnant and just that's what we do.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where the consultancy came from. And then from experience as well, just realised there's no one helping lead that and bring that inspiration back to leaders continually growing to grow their centre. So, that's sort of that turning point was where I got given an opportunity and went, actually, I could do this further to help many centres around Australia.
Yeah, on that, what do you miss about being on the floor, being in a or do you miss it? Do you miss it firstly? And if you do, what do you miss about being on the floor or being in a childcare setting every single day?
Probably a team, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I think being surrounded by a team and seeing every single minute of the day, the inspiration growing, and plus the children, seeing them grow as well. Because the leadership, it trickles down, everything just keeps moving. And when you're in the centre, you see that firsthand every single day.
Yeah.
So I do miss that team environment, but I still get those sparks from the leaders I'm mentoring, and it's beautiful to see them and their spark being brought back to life as a team.
So I guess it seems like you kind of thrive on that leadership aspect of things. So can you talk through kind of your approach to leadership and why it brings so much value to your clients?
Good question. It's I think it's back down to the team, and it's building that trust with the team. I think some people get really stuck in managing and not realising if they turn the word to leader and leadership, they can bring inspiration and delegate responsibilities as well, because you should be able to be, as a leader, helping other educators and teachers grow to be a leader as well. So providing them that opportunity to be able to showcase them and their skills, because I think we were just touching on it before, where you're not an expert in every single aspect, right? So if you use people that can, be better in a circumstance, then do that within your team, and that's what makes it. So that's probably one thing that, as a leader, I continually help other leaders do and go, let go. It's okay. Delegate. It's okay. And I think they get really struck like, oh, I don't know. It's like, But yeah.
Yeah. So I think one topic that we really wanted to cover today was around the quality improvement plan and stuff, and because that's what we get from a lot of centres, is questions around that. How does being a good leader then transition into making a good quality improvement plan?
I think goes back to involving them again. And when you're like in early childhood, you get told you have to do your quality improvement plan, which is good, but you don't get told how to do it and pretty much why. So a lot of the directors or leaders, they're all feeling like they have to do it themselves. Like anyone that's listening, they're probably going, I thought I did. I thought I just had to tell them what was in it and just give them surveys. But you should be involving the whole team and the whole stakeholders within your QIP. Knowing specific questions from them, I would be able to answer as well if you had any. But yeah, it's involving everybody properly, not just thinking you are. It's providing them responsibility within it, and it's starting from the basis, the philosophy, and making sure it reflects everybody and everyone feeling inspired to be in that centre.
Yeah. I mean, talking about the QIP, obviously the large part of the QIP involves A&R and so forth as well. I guess my question is, we get a lot of questions from centres asking how can I improve my QIP for A&R and so forth. How can I do X, Y, and Z my QIP to reflect a certain thing better? I guess, in a nutshell, what are assessors looking for in the QIP?
Trueness, really.
Yeah.
To my belief, it's as long as your QIP is actually true and it's showcasing who you are, you're not lying and putting things in there you think that they need to hear or see or things like that. It's meant to be a true reflection of your centre. So your QIP is just a compliment, really. It's to showcase how amazing you are, and it's meant to so your philosophy is your base, and it's like what we are, what drives us, why we're here, what inspires us, what is leading us, what's our massiveness of our goal, right?
Yeah.
And that's your philosophy, and that should be showcased in your QIP. So it's just an element of it, and it's meant to be the foundation of what you're striving towards. And then just your strengths of each quality area, because these quality areas are just showcasing the minimum. So this is, you're great. You're meeting everything. Yeah. This is what's going to be an effective centre. And so your strengths should be how amazing you are, or what are you going above and beyond with. And then the goals should just be showcasing the trajectory of your centre.
Yeah.
Like, where are you leading it? Where's, you're the train driver of as a leader, and how's the team helping you and jumping on board to move that along. And that's what a QIP is. It's just,
You talked about strengths. You said, do you talk about your weaknesses as well, and how you on your QIP anyway? You have weaknesses in certain parts of the centre or certain philosophies or whatever the case might be. Do you highlight that in your QIP as well, and mention how you're going to overcome those weaknesses, or do you leave it out?
Well, that's exactly what the goals are.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be the gap. So you look at, say, your each quality area or the elements, and you go, how are we meeting these? What are we doing? And you come across that we want to improve, or, we're not actually doing that. Oh, maybe we need to do something like that.
Yeah.
And you've gone, okay, there's a gap. Like, how are we going to improve that? And that's where you put the goal. You can be a short-term goal, long-term goal, and never fear. A lot of people fear, but a goal can be 2 years. Sometimes it takes a while. They get sort of stuck, it needs to be 6 to 12 months. No. Like, it will be a long journey, and that's fine. Put it in there, because then it will show an assessor you've identified the gap. That's fine. How are you going to prove that? So that's what it is. The goals are just, your weaknesses or things that you want to improve on, and again, showing that trajectory of this and to like, okay, we identified that this is what we're doing. So it's even knowledge as well. Like you're going to help build knowledge of like readings or, you want to put the rights of the child, like just to remind educators what that means to them, things like that. So I think it's just, not fearing to put your weaknesses in it. Like I said, everyone has them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
100%, yeah. So when you mentioned that when you first took over as a director in that short space, they were working towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming obviously you've worked with working towards meeting and exceeding. Is there a common theme you see with centres that are either working towards or exceeding or in between that you could probably guess, like, he has a certain, you could probably guess like what rating someone could get based on like kind of culture or processes and stuff. Like is there a common theme that you would see between those kinds of centres?
I feel like I'm repeating it, but it is the leader, unfortunately. Like it is if they're being supported, so if they're feeling amazing, but it's that we touched on it was the culture. It's the leader is what creates that culture, right? So who's leading that team? Who's bringing inspiration? So I find that the ones that are walking into work and like feeling motivated, very excited, full of energy, full of life and ready to just keep going, they're just, their cup is full because as a teacher, you're constantly outputting. So, if they're full of life and ready to go and wanting to improve and being okay to the improvement is a part of being in early childhood, then their team wants to, and then their team will do that together because they're all working towards that common goal of, and being inspired as well with the leader. Because I think you would have all been in work anyway. Like if the leader was amazing, you're like, okay, I've got to keep going. I want to keep going. I want to do this, right? Makes a difference.
Yes, for sure.
But then if they're sort of dragging their feet, walking in going, oh, what a horrible morning already, or, just bagging out even a company if they're working in it, they're bringing that culture down, which then the team doesn't want to be a team, the team doesn't want to be there, which then also trickles down to the children as well. So I think if we look at commonness, I think it's if the leader is inspired and supported, and I have to emphasise on that, supported, because sometimes you do need that help just to be like, no, you're doing good. It's like, okay, okay, I'm back to life again. Like, so, but yeah, I think it just really comes down to that. But would you agree on that? Or
I would actually. What I see a lot of, especially with around A&R, is you'll see a director post on one of those Facebook groups about A&R and so forth, or we have a few centres gone through A&R. You can see sometimes the whole team rallying behind that leader, as in let's aim for the exceeding, or if they're working towards, let's aim for that meeting. You see that camaraderie, so to speak, like all the educators, not just the directors and managers, but all the educators, I guess, all just working together during that 2-3 week process that they go through A&R and trying to achieve that one step above what they're currently on. If they're working towards hitting that meeting, hitting that exceeding, I see that a lot with the really good centres, so to speak.
Yeah. It makes a difference, right? And then the leader wants to keep going as well. If they've got the team behind them, everyone's around them, moving towards that, it's a much better feeling and wanting to be at work. I think that's the major impact as well. Everyone wants to be at work. So, yeah.
No, exactly right. No, you're spot on, especially with leadership and so forth. And obviously with OWNA and being the founder, CEO of the company, I guess it's my job to inspire the guys like Jack and the rest of the team to come in every day cheerful and work towards that common goal of where we want to be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Yeah.
That's right. And you would be reminding them in a positive manner. And, if you do need to rectify things, you're rectifying them. But like you said, like you have to keep coming in, full of life as well. But you need someone else to go, yep, you're doing good. Like keep going. Like you're making a difference. Whereas, because you do get bad days. Everyone gets bad days. Okay. I'm not saying a leader is going to be amazing every single day or an educator, but it's how do you overcome that? How do you move forward from that and finding that to do that? But yeah, as running as an owner of OWNA, like it's just you would have had tough times.
Oh, yeah.
You had to find ways to overcome them, but it's building upon those. So you would have got a challenge. How do you build upon that? And that's what the QIP is about. And that's what leadership is about. It's continually striving and seeing things as speed humps. That's fine. How do we overcome it? That's fine. Let's move above. Let's move above and keep growing and not going, and just going down. Right? So that's what, it's a shame, but that does happen.
It does, yeah.
I think one thing that I really enjoy about your content on social media is like the message of like wellness and like positivity and mentality and mindset and all that kind of stuff. How important is that, like particularly for educators?
I can't emphasize that more enough, and I think that led on from what I was just saying, where the leader needs to go and be full cup, right? And you would see that in my social media, whereas if you're walking into work half empty, you're feeling you're already exhausted while you walk into work, and teachers, like I said before, is outputting. That's what the job is. Early childhood teachers will outputting constantly. And so in early childhood, you're outputting to parents, to your management, if you've got head officers, to your educators or to your team and to the children. So if you don't have energy, even through proper food and nutrition or, in any aspect of mentality as well, if you're walking in only half, you're in negatives by the end of the day. And then how are you going to survive going home? And if you have children, I don't have children, but I can understand that would be hard. So, if you look after yourself outside of work as well as inside of work, so you enjoy it as well, you might be empty by the end of the day, but at least you're not in negatives and you can then refill yourself up and move on for the next day. But I think looking after yourself holistically is absolutely needed. It's a lot of people think, if I'm eating well, that's fine, or if I just exercise, that's fine, or if I go do yoga. It's actually a combination of all, so you can be within the centre. So then it rubs off to your team as well, I reckon.
Yeah. Is there a advice that you can give these educators who there are a whole bunch out there who are, I don't know, who go into work, they're tired, they're not liking what they're doing, and I see that a lot on the EYLF discussion boards. Educators who feel burnt out, who feel like they need a change and so forth. Have you got any advice for those educators who not necessarily want to leave the industry but are contemplating leaving or thinking of how can I improve my morale and so forth?
Yeah. That's why I'm here. It's so heartbreaking. It really is. There's so many people burning out and then they're leaving the sector. And it's always the good ones, always. And it's always, I find that they're stagnant or they're not being motivated, but you need to find joy again. I think if you find joy in what you do as well as inside and outside of work, you won't get burnt out, or you find ways to overcome it properly. It's not, don't do Band-Aid fixes. If, I don't know, I think you find it everywhere in life that people want templates and people just want quick fixes. But if they look at things that are going to help them health-wise or to be motivated or have joy within everything, look at long-term. Set yourself a goal, because especially when you look for a goal, you're constantly striving towards it. But my thing is I love exercise. That's just what keeps me up in the morning, and I love it, and that brings me joy every single morning before I start my day of work. But that's not for everybody. And I always emphasize it's finding what works for you, what brings you joy but brings you health and wellness, so you can survive, because you're working for the rest of your life, really. So what's going to bring joy into work as well? It's finding what works for you. Like, is it walking in the morning? Is it going for a walk in the afternoon? Is it doing a yoga class? What is it? Like, I've tried yoga, not me. Can't do it. I really know it's good for me, but it's so hard for me. Like, it's just not my motivator. And so, I think it's just, finding the motivator and what brings you joy to then refill that up.
Yeah, I think like in my kind of short time, I've only been at OWNA for a couple of months now, but I see a lot of the discussion is around like assessment and rating and all of the things you need to do. But I guess the message of kind of the simple things you can do every day to just be more positive and kind of build that passion is so important in any industry, really. So yeah, I think this is going to bring a lot of value to people. There's just a kind of a reset, especially if you're kind of feeling burnt out or low or something. Yeah, there's definitely a way to like bring that back. So
I think it's just finding a preventative measure. I think it's not sort of stop reacting. Like if you know you're going to burn out, or if you know taking work home is not going to be good in the long term, don't do it. Like find preventative measures to prevent burning out. Don't get to the burnout stage and going, oh, what can I do? Because that's where the quick fix is trying to come into play. And to rectify that is harder. So it is finding a preventative measure to stop that burnout, and it's to find the proper support. And don't think just because one person does one thing that is going to work for you. It's finding what works for you and to keep going and not to burn out. So that's my big message. It's always preventative measures. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So where, if people after this wanted to find you, where could they do that?
Yeah, so there's several places, but one of them is where I do help with the QIPP. So I do a 10-week course where it's just 1 hour a week in the afternoons, and I go through step by step on a QIPP just to bring ease, just to pretty much show them that they know what they're doing. And I start off with their philosophy and break the whole QIPP down for the 10 weeks. And we only do that in a small little group because...
Is that online?
It's online. Yep. It's through Zoom. I don't have like 150 people or anything attending because I actually get to know every single person and I cater it for them. So every single QIPP should be different. It shouldn't be identical. And so I help them create that. And so I leave it as a small group, but then they also get to network with other centres all around Australia, which is actually excellent. Terminology is amazingly different. Like you go to Perth and it's so different. And you're like, you're in Australia, like this doesn't make sense. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we on that, we got reminded by one of our Queensland centres that we were saying "oosh" and "osh" wrong. Obviously, they say it a different way to the way we say it. It was just, for us, it was like, we didn't even know. So
isn't it funny? And they even have like kindergarten. So kindergarten is in Queensland, but that's still early childhood. But kindergarten is primary school here.
I guess it's extra hard for me coming from the UK. Like, so I've got to learn new things, and then 3 months later, I've then got to learn new things again.
Yeah, you're nursery, aren't you? I worked in the UK, and it's like similar but different. It's like a whole amazing. Actually, it was great to see in the UK how it was run, but different terminologies, but all still the same. Like. It's pretty cool. Then I also do mentoring and consulting as well for the teachers. So that's all tailored to them, completely to them. I don't go in and go, this is what it is and this is how you do it and that's it. I'm there for them, and it's to help create what their service is. So the consultancy part is helping provide my insight and my thoughts while using the regulations and using the quality areas to where they want to improve on and stuff. And then provide a plan for them. And then there's the mentoring as well, where I actually support the leaders and help with their wellbeing and be that preventative measure so they can go into work completely full, overflowing and inspiring them. That's exactly right. So then I know if they're feeling excited and motivated, the whole team is, and it just trickles down. So I might be working with one person, but I'm actually making a whole difference for a whole centre. So goes back to my true why. So
that's amazing. Thanks so much for coming in and doing this. As I said before, I think a lot of people get a lot of value from this. So really appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's actually been a pleasure to talk about Sprouts, but also getting to know you too as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.